Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Kennedy Center's Millennium stage, a venue where you can see extraordinary artists from all over the world in performances of every artistic discipline 365 days of the year. My name is Robert Ainsley, and I am the director of Washington National Opera's Domingo Cafritz Young Artist Program, and these past 2 weeks have been a particularly exciting time for us because we have been host to 3 superb musicians from the world-renowned Bolshoi Theater's Young Artist Program in Moscow, whom we have all fallen completely in love with in their short time here. This annual exchange program between the young artists of Washington National Opera and the Bolshoi Opera is supported by the remarkable generosity of Susan Carmel Lehrman, to whom we are enormously grateful. Each year, our 2 great performing arts centers take turns sending 3 or 4 musicians to the sister institution, expanding these artists' understanding of their art form around the world, promoting cultural collaboration and fostering mutual respect and understanding. Whatever else is going on in the world, music still remains a universal language, and what a joy it is to welcome these world-class artists to our great city and to present them here tonight. Our program tonight highlights this wonderful collaboration as our American, Russian, and Georgian artists perform great operatic arias, duets, and ensembles, and we hope you enjoy it as much as we have enjoyed rehearsing it. Now, how often is it that you have 3 incredible young virtuoso pianists on the same program and 1 not so young and not so virtuoso glorified page-turner to assist them? Well, tonight is one of those rare times, with the addition of the superb Daniil Arlov to our usual hotshot pianists Paul Jarsky and Christopher Kelzer, and we have a real treat to get things rolling. Forget your Bach, your Beethoven, your Mozart. We begin tonight with the great Albert Lavignac and his grand and deadly serious Galop Marche, a piece of such depth and power, it requires 4 pianists to handle it. To accomplish this great artistic feat, please welcome to the stage the combined pianistic forces of the Domingo Cafritz and the Bolshoi Young Artist Programs, humbly assisted by myself. Now that we have our fingers limbered up, let's add some singers into the mix. We have with us an incredible talent from Georgia, the soprano Tamana Gochashvili, and she is going to perform Mimi's Act 3 aria from Puccini's La Boheme, Donde lieta uscì. Yes, poor Mimi is already sick, fighting the consumption, which will soon consume her. But this moment is simply about two people who love each other deeply, but who just can't manage to live together. Rodolfo's insufferable jealousy disguises his real fear that his beloved Mimi is dying, and they agree here to part ways, except that Mimi can't quite bring herself to do it. Each time she manages to say goodbye, she remembers another memento of their relationship she has to mention: the ring, the prayer book, the porter she'll send to collect them, and finally, her favorite pink bonnet, which he bought her at the Christmas Eve market. With Christopher Kelzer at the piano, please welcome soprano Tamuna Gochashvili. Now, Romeo and Juliet is one of the world's great tales, and it's often surprising to people that it dates back considerably further than Shakespeare. Bellini's version, I Capuletti e i Montecchi, is actually based on one of those earlier tellings and begins with the fated love already underway and after Romeo has killed Coppelio's son. Romeo now appears in front of the Capulets, disguised as his own envoy of peace from the Montecchi, offering Romeo himself as a second son to Juliet's father Capellio through her hand in marriage. This invitation isn't received very kindly, and Romeo instead accepts the Capulets' challenge of war in a thrilling cabaletta. Please welcome all the way from Russia this beautiful mezzo-soprano, Victoria Karkachova, accompanied by Daniil Arlov. Brava, Victoria. Pushkin's Eugene Onegin, or Eugene Onegin, is one of the world's greatest literary masterpieces, and Tchaikovsky's setting of it one of the world's great operas, and one which you can see in full here at Washington National Opera next season. Here we are at the beginning of the opera, with the two sisters, Tatiana and Olga, in their garden, singing a sad love song, perhaps inspired by the bookish Tatiana's romantic novel which she's been buried in recently. Our two sisters from across the globe are the Georgian soprano Tamara Gotchashvili as Tatiana and the American mezzo-soprano Allegra De Vita as Olga. Paul Jarsky accompanies. And they even look like sisters. We try during this exchange to ensure artists on both sides have a chance to work in the other's native language. And so we follow this short preview of one of the greatest of all Russian operas with two of the most beloved Russian songs sung by two of our American artists. The first is also by Tchaikovsky and is the setting of Goethe's great poem, which many composers set, Nur wer die Sehnsucht kennt, from Wilhelm Meister's Lehrbuch, one of Mignon's songs. In Russian, Niet только тот, кто знал, or in English, None but the Lonely Heart, a very personal and heartfelt song about the suffering and loneliness of a life without love. After that, we will hear Rachmaninoff's exquisite Margaritki, or daisies, which are really just a metaphor for all of the lovely maidens our poet finds blooming everywhere with the coming of spring, something Washington seems to have forgotten this year. To sing None But the Lonely Heart, please welcome mezzo-soprano Eliza Bonet and pianist Daniil Arlov, and performing Rachmaninoff, soprano Madison Leonard and pianist Paul Jarsky. You can see Madison and Paul perform that last song as part of a full recital featuring 3 other Domingo Cafritz young artists, Christopher Kenny, Arnold Livingston Geiss, and Timothy Bruno, at the renowned modern art gallery, the Phillips Collection, on April the 12th. Our final DCYAP recital of the season speaks to their current exhibition entitled 10 Americans After Paul Klee. Please join us then and learn more about their stunning collection through song. Tickets are available at the Phillips Collection website. Now let's keep this collaborative spirit going with 2 of Italian opera's great duets. Bellini's Norma is considered one of opera's pinnacles, and the title role is one of the most demanding in the entire repertory. The opera revolves around the love triangle between the Druid high priestess Norma, her companion, the priestess Adalgisa, and the object of both their affections, the Roman proconsul Boheme. The duet Mira o Norma is the culmination of a scene which begins with Norma contemplating taking the lives of her very own 2 little sons without being able to bring herself to do it. She then tries to persuade Adalgisa to take the children away and bring them up together with the Roman Boheme, and the scene finally ends with this duet in which Adalgisa renounces Boheme and vows to remain with her friend Norma. As an expression of solidarity and love between 2 sisterly figures, it is unequaled in music. Please welcome Victoria Karkachova as Adalgisa, soprano Alexandria Scheiner as Norma, and Christopher Kelzer at the piano.
Queste virtui, o te cacello gli uomini, giorno giorno ognor, sì. Vai vinco, abbracciami, per ricovrarci insieme, anche la terra io te lo sai. Ecco del fatto non te, perché del fatto non te, perché parole a te, sento sorre con te, sento sul mio cuore, io sento sul mio cuore, io sento sul mio cuore, oh sì. Sì, fino all'ore estreme, compagno tuo, compagna m'avrai, per ricovrarci insieme, anche una terra te lo sai. Ecco del fatto non te, perché del fatto non te, perché parole a te, sento la sorre con te, sento sul mio cuore, io sento sul mio cuore, io sento sul mio cuore, oh sì.
That's some real opera right there. And now another short preview, this time of the opera which opens WNO's 2018-19 season in a new production by our artistic director Francesca Zambello, Verdi's masterpiece La Traviata. For the second time this evening, an operatic soprano, surprise, surprise, is dying of consumption. This time Violetta Valeri. Awaiting death, alone in her room, her maid, Annina, rushes in to tell her that her estranged lover, Alfredo, has come to see her and to ask her forgiveness. As he cradles her in his arms, they dream of once more leaving Paris to live together happily ever after. Alas, that is not to be. As Annina, we have soprano Alexandria Scheiner, as Alfredo, tenor Alexander McKissick, and as Violetta Valeri, Tamuna Gochashvili, accompanied by Paul Jarsky.
Signora, che accade? Quest'oggi, è vero? Vi sentite meglio? Sì, perché? Se siete calmo, promettete? Sì, che prevenirvi folli, una gioia improvvisa. Una gioia, dicesti? Sì, oh signora, Alfredo, a tu il vedesti? Il vento fredda, Alfredo, il mio Dio
sono tutto coro.
Io so che la vena reso mi sei.
Da questo palpito se io t'imploro, senza te insistere più non potrei.
Io so qui in nido, mi ritrovato, vede che uccidere non quel dolor.
Scordo l'affanno, donna adorata, mi perdoni al genitor.
Che ti perdoni, l'aria son io, ma sono morta il mi rendi.
Un uomo demon, angel mio, mai più dividermi potrà da te.
Un uomo demon, angel mio, mai più dividermi.
Mai più, mai più, mai più, mai più. Cara, noi lasceremo la vita uniti, trascorreremo decorsi affanni, compenso avrai la tua salute rifiorirà. Sospiro e luce tu mi sarai, tutto il futuro ne riderà.
Dio caro, noi lasceremo la vita niente, trascorreremo dei corsi affanni, compenserai la mia salute rifiorirà. Sospiro e leggi, tu mi sarai, tutto il futuro ne arriderà.
Dio cara, noi lasceremo
I corsi affanni compenserai tutto il futuro ne arriderà.
la vita uniti, trascorreremo
I corsi affanni compenserai tutto il futuro ne arriderà.
e corsi affanni, la tua salute rifiorirà, rifiorirà, rifiorirà. Corsi affanni, corsi affanni, compenso avrai. E corsi affanni, compenso avrai. La tua salute, ah sì,
So I was awakened bright and early this morning, as I usually am, by the particularly insistent mewlings of my cat, George, demanding fresh food so he could promptly turn his nose up at it and retire to his favorite pillow. Well, it seems that my entire day is going to run to that feline soundtrack, as our next number is Rossini's Duet for Two Cats. After all, what is any collaboration without a little gentle rivalry and competition? Let's have our two mezzo-soprani, Eliza Bonet and Victoria Karkachova, work out their differences now through Rossini's coloratura. Christopher Kelzer is at the piano. I might have to adopt those two in addition to George. So, despite yesterday's meteorological aberration, it is in fact the beginning of spring. And no piece welcomes spring and love like this finale from Puccini's ravishing opera La Rondine, The Swallow. To close this evening, please welcome as Magda Sorel, soprano Tamana Gocciashvili, as Lisette, soprano Madison Leonard, as Ruggiero, tenor Alexander McKissick, as Prunier, tenor Arnold Livingston Geiss, pianist Daniil Arlov, with all the members of the Domingo Cafritz Young Artist Program and our visitors from the Bolshoi, celebrating together this unique, very special exchange between our two great performing arts centers.
che il caso ci unisce, ineggiamo il lavoro, ineggiamo la vita che ci dono il lavoro. Bevo al tuo fresco sorriso, bevo al tuo sguardo profondo, alla tua bocca che disse il mio nome. Il cuore con cui t'ho suonato il mio cuore, oh mio tenero dolce mio amore, custodisci il geloso il mio dono, perché viva sempre in te. Con la ghiotta t'arrosto questo istante non